good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday night Anamkara meditation program. With all my heart, with all my love, I welcome you all to our program tonight. So glad you were able to join us this evening. Kind of a warm summer's evening here. Don't know where you're joining us from, so it may be quite different where you are. So once again, with all my heart, with all my love, I welcome you to our program this evening. And a number of people joined us as we were chatting. So glad you were able to join us this evening. And, this week had a couple of holidays in it that I'm going to talk about later, because we've had both the ones that especially Americans are aware of in terms of the 4th of July. But a big holiday in India and in the tradition of meditation in the East is a holiday known as Guru Purnima. And Guru Purnima is the full moon day of the Guru. And that was celebrated on Monday, on the 3rd, and then we had Independence Day on the 4th. So I'll be talking a little bit about that later, and even how they're related in a way. But we've been beginning by taking a few moments just to allow the mind to still, allow our awareness to become fully present. So many things have been going on in this day, in this week, in this life, that snags the mind and pulls our attention away from the real source of all our life, the living presence of the divine within us. So we take a few minutes to begin with, and we've been using a very simple practice combined with the harmonium. And so those tones on the inhalation and then the exhalation. Inviting the breath to slow and deepen. Inhaling. Exhaling. As the breath slows and deepens, it calms the mind, the brain, the body. And the breath comes in silently with the sound ah, and then goes out silently with hum. Ah, silently as the breath is coming in, and then hum silently as the breath goes out. An ancient mantra that simply means I am. A mantra of simply being. Being free. Being the truth of who you are, the infinite. Ah, as the breath comes in silently, and hum silently as the breath goes out. Letting go and letting go. Letting go into stillness, silence, simply being. Just continue that slower, deeper breath. It's a foundational practice of the meditative traditions. They discovered thousands of years ago what we now have a raft of scientific research on, showing that when we slow and deepen the breath, it actually has a tremendous impact on our cardiovascular system, our nervous system, calms them. And then all those kinds of distractions help empower the mind to get free of what it's been so identified with, enmeshed in, distressed by, all those things. So we can come home to just the stillness, the presence, the awareness of simply being. As we explore that further and further, that's what opens the doors to knowing, true knowing the infinite, the source, your own self, your own Buddha nature, your own Christ consciousness, call it what we will. But that's where we first discover it. That's where it's always been. We're so busy with the busy mind, we don't know where that stillness is. Come home to that over and over. So it's all about, all the practices, we're reduced to that. Letting go of the mind into the stillness. Then it won't matter whether the mind is busy, quiet, whatever. When you get established in the truth of who you are, you walk that into any time, any place, any situation. You become established in that. That's what we're invited to know. That's what Buddha sought to pass on, a way to be free of suffering. So he was one of the great gurus. So on Guru Purnima Day, in the Buddhist tradition, we celebrate the Buddha, but we also celebrate whatever our personal teacher in the Buddhist tradition would be, our root guru. And His Eminence Swatantriya Rinpoche has been one of those root teachers for me. His picture is there. And along with other great Buddhist teachers that I've had the privilege of being able to receive teachings and empowerments from, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama, His Eminence Swatantriya Rinpoche. So we honor that gift that comes through them so that we're empowered to know the truth directly for ourselves. That's what it's all about. In the yogic Hindu tradition, my root guru there, Muktananda Swami, when I lived with him in the ashrams in India, Guru Purnima is a huge holiday. And the ashram that might typically have, well, it was a big ashram, might have a couple thousand people living there on non-holidays. Holidays, it could expand to 15, 18,000 people, all living together, doing the practices, serving each other with love and devotion, cooking all the meals for all those people all day long for days on end. Quite extraordinary. Quite extraordinary to see the practices brought down to that kind of level of just engagement on day-to-day tasks with the awareness that everyone is the divine. You're all the embodiment of the divine. You've never been anything else but that. No matter what the world has told you, no matter what teachers, bosses, family members even have told you, you are the divine. So to gather, to know that, to become reflections of that. So if we lose the awareness of it, it's the importance of Sangha that Buddha talked about as one of the three jewels, and that the yogis always spoke about, the importance of satsang, keeping the company of the truth. This evening's program, satsang, keeping the company of the truth. What's the truth? You are the infinite. You are the divine. So there's an ancient saying in the yoga tradition where the aspirant says, I thank God for the Guru. I thank God for bringing me to the Guru, because the Guru brought me to God. So often we can't find that just on our own. We need the help of a knower of the truth. No different if you wanted to learn the piano. Well, you wouldn't try just channeling Mozart. You'd find a teacher, a living teacher, a teacher who then really helps you and supports you and encourages you and guides you. That's really the function of a genuine teacher. There are a lot of bad examples of that out there at this point. One of my teachers used to say the guru market is worse than the used car market. There's a lot of evidence for that. But this holiday that was celebrated on Monday this week, July 3rd of Guru Purnima, was really celebrating that function of the infinite embodied by so many, both individuals, but the living quality of the Guru is also known as Kundalini Shakti. Kundalini is the power of revelation. That is the Guru. That is the inner Guru. So it's just these are just other Sanskrit terms for this living presence of the divine within each one of us, whose light is always there, always illuminating. It's always illuminating even our mind, even our ordinary thoughts, even our experiences right here, right now. What illuminates them is the consciousness of the divine. We think it's the mind. That's part of what the mind does. It tries to appropriate. That's why the ordinary mind is known as the power of self-appropriation. That's the ego. It appropriates the things to itself it doesn't own. It has no consciousness on its own. If it weren't for the infinite light of the divine, it would be as dark as a piece of coal. In the same way, and for the same reason, the moon is what is used as a symbol of the mind. So even the mind, in its full state of purity, the enlightened mind, right? That mind, which then is symbolized by the full moon, it's still just reflecting the light of the infinite. So it's not something that has light on its own. So when we're celebrating this extraordinary presence in our lives, within ourselves, that's the essence of what the Guru is as the power of revelation. That's why the word Guru, the first syllable, Gu, stands for darkness. The second syllable, Ru, light. One who takes you from darkness to light, the Guru. It said that our parents are our first gurus. They help enlighten us to the ordinary world. If you were going to study tabla, you would have a tabla guru who would teach you that. If you were going to study the sitar, you would have a sitar guru to teach you that. So gurus as teachers enlighten us within the confines of what that system is. The ultimate guru, that is within. That is the source. That is what dissolves any wrong identification, any enmeshment with the ordinary mind. That's what sets us free. And the nature of that power, she's also called Swatantriya Devi, Swatantriya Shakti, Swatantriya Shakti. Right? The great goddess, Shakti, the infinite power of the universe, Swatantriya, unimpeded. There's nothing more powerful. There's nothing greater. She is the source of it all. That's Swatantriya Devi. Oh, that's you. That's you, my dear. That's your nature. That's what we need to know and live from. Otherwise, the suffering the mind bears is too much. Too much. So that's also the connection between Guru Purnima and Independence Day, 4th of July. Because when we used to have celebrations with Muktananda Swami in the United States over the summer, and it was around, Independence Day, well, the Statue of Liberty. He used to call her Swatantriya Devi because she was the Shakti. She standing for liberation. Liberty, Lady Liberty. What are we getting liberated from? Of course, he took it to a whole other level. We're getting liberated from the mind. We're getting liberated from other people's minds. We come to rest in the truth of who we are. That's what we want to know. That's what we want to live from. So it's that unimpeded presence, Shakti, the power of consciousness that sets us free. Now, of course, the ordinary mind, the ego mind, which so often feels obstructed because it doesn't get what it wants. So when it thinks of unimpeded power, it goes, oh, and then I can have this, and I can have that, and I can get all kinds of things, and I'm going to accumulate this. That's not what this is about. This isn't the power to accumulate things. This isn't the ordinary freedom in the ordinary sense of the world. This is the freedom to live from your highest, purest, most sublime nature. It's the freedom to live into this world loving compassion, no matter what the circumstances. It's the freedom to live from the source of wisdom, no matter what circumstances you find yourself in. It's the freedom to rest in unshakable equanimity, no matter how disturbing what's going on in the world is. And it certainly is disturbing. And it doesn't mean that then we just live in that state and so, oh, I hope you poor people suffering do something else. No, we then translate that into now we're empowered to be present and act in this world to bring about transformation from a place of love, compassion, wisdom, and steadiness. That's where that is. And it's the freedom to know unbounded rapture. Unbounded, inexpressible, overwhelming, rapturous joy. The ecstasy, ananda, what it's called in the yogic system. Bliss, sheer bliss, the bliss of the infinite. We leave that behind when we enter the portal to come into this world. When we're born in pain. That leaves an imprint. We're coming into a world that in part is conditioned by pain and love and pleasure, and then the beloved's embrace of the mother picking up the newborn, to love and comfort. They imprint themselves on us, but they're all conditioned. They're all temporary on that level. The true self, oh no, these are eternal qualities. These are not ephemeral. These are not conditioned by anything. They exist no matter what. The body can be racked by horrific pain, And that ecstasy, that joy is there. I've experienced that. I've written about that. I know that personally. So we have the capacity to know that. We're invited over and over by all these great traditions to know that and live that. So when we're celebrating both Guru Purnima and Independence Day, so close, we can see, oh, these are really, we want the Maha independence. We want the true freedom, the freedom that should be for everyone. That all beings, let all beings be free. That's how we close the program. It's called a metta prayer. Metta prayer of love and compassion. May all beings know complete freedom from suffering. We dedicate our practices to that as well, because we don't want to be free by ourselves. We want all beings to participate in the grandeur, the magnificence of true knowing. That's what's accessible to us. And the practices really are quite clear, quite simple. We're given empowered mantra, a throb of the infinite that's already arising within us. Oh, in a little while we'll be doing a chant of the Maha Mantra, this great mantra, ancient mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Now, it's the mantra of my lineage. It means I bow to the auspicious one. Who's bowing? That's the mind. Who's the auspicious one? Ah, that's your true self. That's the truth of who you are. That's the truth of who every being is. The embodiment of the auspicious one, the divine. So the mantra is both a encoding of that direct knowing and wisdom. It's known as the sound form of the infinite. So when we become absorbed in it, we can become absorbed in knowing that for ourselves. But we have to do that repeatedly. Repeatedly. Think of how many thoughts go through your mind in a day. They are all repeating the awareness, I'm not that. I'm just this little thing. I'm just suffering in this way. Oh, I have a little bit of happiness here, but I know that's not going to last. I better plan for something later on in the day to make me happy again. We're repeating the mantra of I'm bound, I'm stuck, I'm contracted, pleasures are ephemeral, pains last way too long. So we have to counter all of that with the truth. Over and over and over till we are drenched in that. So that every cell, every atom in your body knows the throb of I am. That's the root of even Om Namah Shivaya. Springs from the awareness, I am. I am the infinite. I am the divine. I am that one. That I is not the ego I. That ego I gets transformed into the servant of the one. That's the differentiation there. We don't want the ego to get confused that somehow it's becoming God. Its divine purpose is as it is with its limitations. It is the creation of the infinite to know what it is to be finite. So we have to let go of it to reclaim knowing the infinitude of our own being. That's what we're doing in satsang. That's what we're doing in sadhana practices. That's what we're doing when we repeat mantra. That's what we're doing when we read the words of great saints like the poetry in love poems from God. So many great saints expressing, it's like their expression of enlightenment, of communing and merging with the divine. That's what we want to know. That's what then draws us to that. Because when we see and hear the experience of these great beings, immersed in that living presence of the divine. Oh, that flame of longing. Oh, it's fanned by the words of great beings like that. That longing, that deep longing. That's true for all mystics. The longing that finally consumes everything because they long for only one thing. They long only to know the divine. Every moment, all times, all places, in the midst of whatever our dharma is. That's what we're drawn into. And that's why that kind of one-pointed focus, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, all the time. Until then, it's repeating itself. The mantra begins, you begin to discover, oh, that throb, the mind has finally become subtle enough by constant repetition to discover it's already throbbing within you. It's a pulse of your own self. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And then it begins to lose its sound and word form and just becomes the throb of the awareness. I am. No words, no concepts. It's being the infinite, being the one. Beyond words, beyond philosophies, beyond religions, beyond everything. That's where we come to rest. That's the only place we can truly come to rest, in pure being. Because that's where the absolute fullness of being is. If we're involved and identified with the mind, we are going to experience lack, want. Not enough of this, too much of that. Always agitates the mind. Not until we come to rest in that unbreakable, inexhaustible fullness of being do we know complete and absolute rest. And the consciousness of that is suffused with loving, sublime, rapturous presence. That's you. That is you. And that's why we celebrate, the teachers on Guru Purnima who keep pointing that out to us. This is home. You got lost. You got lost in the world. You forgot where home is. Somebody thought it was over there, and then it turned out it wasn't. Somebody told you it was over there, turned out it wasn't. Come home to the truth. Come home to your own self. Come home to simply being. Unalloyed, uncontracted. The absolute fullness of your being. It's here, now, just the other side of your thoughts. What's illuminating your thoughts? That consciousness. Any thoughts you're having, any reactions you're having, anything you feel in your body, what illuminates that? Oh, that's the infinite consciousness. Stop getting caught up in what it's shining its light on. Turn your attention to the source of the light. That's where we go. What's illuminating the thought? You've thought enough. Is there any thoughts you're not familiar with? So many thoughts we're just sick of having. They keep coming back anyway. Turn your attention to the luminous one whose light is always there. It even illuminates sleep. How would you know you were asleep? Oh, that knowing, it's the light of consciousness of your own divine self. It never disappears. It never shuts off. It's always conscious, always present. That's why the great yogi Patanjali talked about the state of meditation is the state of that highest self. And we discover that state illuminates all the three states of waking dream and deep sleep state. It's continuously present through all of it. We can be aware of the state of meditation, the state of being the truth of who you are, even while the mind is doing what it needs to do in service of that. Even while the body is doing that. Even while they go through their phases of waking dreams and deep sleep. The luminous one. The luminous one. The luminous one is calling you. Always calling you. Make your mind refined enough to hear the call. Hear the call. You'll never want to listen to anything else. So we celebrate the living presence of the divine that illuminates all, destroys the darkness of ignorance, that sets us free from being identified with what we're not and unidentified with what we really are, the divine, the infinite, God, yourself. That's what all the practices are aimed at, refining the mind, quieting it, so we know what's already fully present. Already fully present. Doesn't that just relieve the mind? Oh, I have to create this? No, mind. You don't have to create anything. It's all created. In fact, you were created. You just need to shut up long enough so we get to know it again. Because our attention keeps following thoughts. So first, we unfuse attention from content of mind. Right? Then attention, we can come to know it directly. That attention, that's awareness. Awareness, that's unbounded consciousness. What are its other qualities? Irreducible qualities of the self. Boundless love, boundless compassion, boundless wisdom, boundless joy, unshakable equanimity. That's the truth. Know that, and life is completely transformed. The body will still go through the karmas of the body. The mind will go through the karmas of the mind. But you'll have a refuge. You'll have that presence, all times, all places, illuminating all. Illuminating it. The light of love and compassion, wisdom and grace. So we're going to chant the mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, for a few minutes. And then just sit in the stillness. If the mind moves, just keep bringing it back to silently repeating, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Can you repeat it silently once on the inhalation, Om Namah Shivaya, and then once on the exhalation, Om Namah Shivaya. As it slows and deepens, just stay in the vehicle of the mantra so it can take you to its source. As soon as you enter the vehicle of mind, it takes you where you've already been far too long, in the maze of the mind. To get out of that, let it go. Let it go. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. The awareness of I am that. I am the mantra. I am the source of mantra. I am the auspicious one. It's all there is. It's this throb of the infinite taking the forms of the universe. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Rest in that. Know that. Live that. Swim in that awareness. Shrimati Kali Mahadevi Ki Jai. Om Namah Om Sitting in the stillness, taking refuge in Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. The throb of the infinite, your own self, the divine within. When the mind becomes utterly still, even the sound of mantra dissolves into the bare awareness of being, infinite, all-embracing being, infinite, all-embracing love, the truth of who you are. Rest there.
Kali Maha Devi ki jai. We end with this prayer. And may all our practices truly benefit everyone. And may all beings know complete freedom from suffering. Namaste. That prayer is a practice. And even our individual practices can be ended with that, so that we're dedicating the fruits of our practices to all beings, because all beings are our own being. Leave behind the narcissism of the mind. Open our awareness, that vision of the one that has become the many that are the one. All one. Shivoham, Shivoham. I am that. I am Shiva. I am the auspicious one. You rest in that. You walk in that. You breathe in that. You bathe in that. You eat in that. You carry on your relationships, your work, everything in that ocean of awareness. You already do. You already do. But you're deprived of the blissful, rapturous love of that. That's the nature of the afflicted mind, the mind identified with limitations. And when we're identified with limitations, we suffer. Oh, we don't just suffer alone, no. We inflict that suffering on others.
so many afflicted minds, flailing about, creating suffering for so many others. So bring the light of your divine self into each moment. How do we quench the fires of the suffering mind? Oh, we drown it in the ocean of love. That is the nature of who you are. That's where that freedom is. Swatantriya Devi. That's what Lady Liberty is. The compassion reflected in that symbol. Give us, they're tired, are hungry, poor. That's the nature of the founding of our country. Founded in that highest wisdom, seems to be so in peril of being lost by so many people caught up in such ignorance and hate. How do we dispel that darkness? Like Lady Liberty, we hold the light. We hold the light of the truth, who we are, aloft. And remind people, oh, you're so much better than that. You can be so free of that. That's why we gather as a Sangha, to practice, to be mirrors to one another, and then mirror that truth into the world. So thank you for being ones who do that and are committed to that. Because walking that into this world, this is a tough world. But that Shakti is Swatantriya Shakti, unimpeded. Nothing stands in our way. That's you. That's the power of your heart, your love. Keep coming back to that. So thank you. Thank you for being ones who do practices, are committed to that, and then walk the light of that into your worlds, your everyday lives. And thank you for the support you give Anamkara, sharing what we offer by donations. So thank you. Thank you. I deeply appreciate that. So we're going to close now, and I look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks. With all my heart, all my love. Have a great 2 weeks ahead. I see you then.